Once upon a time, in a grand mansion atop a hill, lived a woman named Mrs. Evelyn Montgomery. She was known far and wide for her immense wealth, but even more so for her notorious stinginess. Despite having millions of dollars to her name, Mrs. Montgomery pinched pennies like it was an Olympic sport. In her mansion, she lived with her only daughter, Lily. Lily was a sweet and gentle soul, with eyes as bright as stars and a smile that could light up the darkest of rooms. But despite her radiance, there was a sadness in Lily's eyes, for she lived under the shadow of her mother's tight-fisted ways. One fateful day, as Lily blossomed into womanhood, she experienced the inevitable her first period. With confusion and anxiety coursing through her veins, she approached her mother, hoping for comfort and guidance. But instead of warmth and reassurance, Lily was met with cold indifference. "Mum," Lily began tentatively, I think I got my period." Mrs. Montgomery glanced up from her ledger, her brow furrowing in annoyance. "And what do you expect me to do about it?" Lily's heart sank at her mother's callous response. "Well, I need pads, and maybe some advice." Mrs. Montgomery let out an exasperated sigh. "Pads cost money, Lily. Do you have any idea how much those things cost? We can't just go throwing money around for every little inconvenience." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes as she realized her mother's unwillingness to help. But it's not just an inconvenience, Mum. It's a part of growing up." Ignoring Lily's plea, Mrs. Montgomery went back to her calculations, leaving her daughter feeling more alone than ever. As days turned into weeks, Lily struggled to cope with her new reality. Not only did her mother refuse to buy her pads, but she also imposed strict limits on her hygiene habits, rationing shower time and restricting toilet paper usage. Lily felt like a prisoner in her own home, trapped by her mother's relentless penny-pinching ways. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerged. Lily's grandmother, a kind-hearted woman who lived on the outskirts of town, heard of her granddaughter's plight and came to her rescue. With arms wide open and a heart full of love, she welcomed Lily into her humble abode, providing her with the care and support that had been sorely lacking. Under her grandmother's guidance, Lily flourished like a delicate flower, finally given the chance to bloom. With each passing day, she grew stronger and more confident, no longer shackled by the chains of her mother's greed. Meanwhile, Mrs. Montgomery remained ensconced in her mansion, surrounded by her mountains of wealth but devoid of any true happiness or contentment. As she counted her coins and tallied her accounts, she couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness that gnawed at her soul. One day, as Mrs. Montgomery sat alone in her opulent parlor, a sudden realization washed over her like a tidal wave. In her relentless pursuit of wealth, she had sacrificed the most precious thing of all, her relationship with her daughter. Tears welled up in Mrs. Montgomery's eyes as she reflected on the pain and suffering she had caused. With a heavy heart, she vowed to make amends and repair the fractured bond with her daughter. Rushing to her grandmother's house, Mrs. Montgomery threw open the door and embraced Lily with tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, Lily," she sobbed. "I was blinded by my own greed, but now I see the error of my ways. Please forgive me." Lily, her heart softened by her mother's sincerity, wrapped her arms around her mother in a tender embrace. "I forgive you, Mum," she whispered. "But you have to promise me one thing: no more penny pinching. Love is more valuable than all the money in the world." And with that promise, Mrs. Montgomery embarked on a journey of redemption, learning that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the love and connection shared between family members. And as she embraced her daughter once more, she knew that she had finally found the greatest treasure of all.